So today I accidentally made a pretty strong zombie deck that has me flying through the ladder, mainly due to the amount of value it produces when things die, which seems to happen all the time in this meta. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today I was tinkering with a combo deck around Necroduality, but ended up going pretty much unbeaten with straight up zombies, so I thought I'd share that deck with everyone. The current meta really struggles with the value each card creates, and I was shocked at how good it actually worked in today's meta. But before we get going, I want to thank everyone for their support for this channel, and as always, be sure to hit that subscribe button below to not miss out on future videos. But onto this deck, like I mentioned, it's a zombie tribal deck that can go a little insane with a few cards, including a great new addition from March of the Machine. So the new card is Invasion of Amonkhet. It's a 3-mana battle that when it ETBs, each player mills 3, then your opponent discards a card and you draw 1. Most importantly though, when it's transformed, it's a creature that when it ETBs becomes a copy of any creature card in any graveyard, except it's now a 4/4 zombie in addition to its other types. So this card fits perfectly in this deck and gives some great value here. The rest are pretty well known cards, but seem to do well against any deck that runs a lot of removal. They all do so much more than just attack face. So I want to firstly mention Necroduality. It's a 4-mana enchantment that creates copies of non-token zombies as they ETB. As Lazotep Convert is not a token, you'll also get copies of that card too, which can help finish off games. Zombie-wise, we have Champion of the Perished. It can easily get out of control very quickly as they get +1/+1 counters each time a zombie ETBs. We've got Tainted Adversaries for amazing early and late game plays. You can pump mana into the 2-cost 2/3 Death Toucher to create extra zombies. We have Bladestitched Skaab to give our zombies +1/+1, and if you do find Necroduality is out, they'll basically all get +2/+2. We've got Felstinger, a 3/2 Death Toucher that can exploit a creature when it ETBs, which will make either player draw 2 cards, then lose 2 life. We have Headless Rider, one of the engines of the deck, as whenever it or another non-token zombie dies, we get to create a 2/2 zombie token, and Archghoul of Thraben, another amazing value card, as whenever it or another zombie dies, you get to look at the top card of your library. If it's a zombie, you may reveal it and put it in your hand. If you don't, you can put it in the graveyard. And finally, 2 surprise cards for our opponents. We've got Overcharged Amalgam. It's a flash 3/3 flying zombie with exploit that when it exploits a creature, you counter a target spell or activated or triggered ability. One cool interaction here is if you've got a Necroduality on the battlefield, just play Overcharged Amalgam and then you can exploit the copy to surprise counter an opponent's spell, plus you get to keep a 3/3 flyer on the battlefield. And finally, Geralf Visionary Stitcher. When all fails and you've got a bunch of tokens, throw this down, give all your zombies flying and attack over everyone for the win. It's super powerful and can finish games off immediately. Interaction wise, cut downs, go for the throats and some Sheoldred Edicts. A little more removal than I would like, but stopping early mono red threats and black threats seem to be very applicable today. And we've got some Gix's commands to help clear out our opponent's threats. As our deck creates so many zombies, hopefully we're then just left with a bunch of tokens after we wipe the board. I've got 24 lands and that's the deck. Like I mentioned, this deck flew through the ladder today. Our creatures are very hard to get rid of, and one-on-one removal doesn't do it against us. And as you know, the best of one ladder is chock-a-block full of one-on-one removal. Anyway, let me know what changes you might make, and if you have any thoughts on how to combo with Necroduality, as I'm determined to come up with something janky there. But yeah, sit back, have a watch of my games, and hope you enjoy. All right, on the play here. Greedy keep, but a couple of Necrodualities. I'm not going to turn this hand down. We could easily get blown away in the next 3 turns, but opponent with a tap land first. Okay, well, nothing to do for our first 3 turns. So yeah, I've been trying to make a combo deck using Necroduality and Invasion of Amonkhet. But I kind of stumbled upon the fact that zombies are just doing so well today. Really struggling to kill my creatures, as the value they produce mean one-on-one removal just doesn't seem to cut it. So doing pretty well today. But yeah, got to play the Archghoul there of Thraben, and whilst we have the opportunity, let's put down the Necroduality. So we get to copy all non-token zombies as they enter the battlefield. Opponent on red, white, black, so Mardu. In fact, they've got Jetmir's Garden, so not really sure what they're up to. Probably reanimating an Atraxa here, or just Reanimator in general. So the question is, do we get greedy now and play the other Necroduality? Or are we going to put down some creatures? Just the Jetmir's Garden in the graveyard. We're under no real threats. Going to play a Necroduality though. So even if they do get rid of our Archghoul of Thraben here, we're going to have so much value over the next few turns. And yeah, they discard a Chandra. Okay, and there's Invoke Justice. All right, so Chandra on the battlefield. They weren't too far off just casting that anyway. And they put their counters on the Bankbuster there. But there goes our Archghoul. But we do get to put the Champion of Perish in our hand. And I mean, this turn should be pretty nice. So I totally forgot I drew the Champion of Perish there, as I played the Headless Rider first. And then realised that I should have played the Champion first. But I don't think it's going to matter too much, as we get 3 copies of Headless Rider. There's the Champion. We get a load of triggers here. And Tainted Adversary as well. Whole bunch of triggers, so... I mean, this is just going on for ages. So had we played the Champion first, they would have all had another 3 counters on it. Opponent needs a substantial board wipe here. Even if they do find one, some 2/2s are going to be left behind from the Rider. We're going to get a ton of triggers from the Tainted Adversary. And opponent scoops it up, just as I thought they might do. Alright, on the play. I mean, this is a pretty nice hand. Champion of the Perish turn 1 into a Bladestitched Skaab, or even the Edict, depending on what opponent plays. They just play a green, so yeah. We'll play the Skaab here. This will give +1/+1 and a counter on the Perished, so 3 damage coming at our opponent. Looks like they're mono green. And there's a Scrap Gorger. So I'm actually going to deal with that now to slow them down. We could have played the Skaab. Maybe I should have attacked first with the Champion to see if they blocked, but I doubt it. And there's a Polukranos. Okay. So a 4/5 is quite hard for us to get through, so we're going to need to just build up our Champion of the Perished here. And I'm just going to attack with a 6/4. I might lose my creature here, but we're on the beatdown. And we've still got quite a substantial board here, including a Gix's Command if we draw land. There's a Polukranos again. So we'll play the other Archghoul here. And like last turn, we'll just attack with our Champion. So unfortunately, our creatures are dying, but we've still got plenty of tough power on the battlefield. And there's Geralf on the top, which is going to give our creatures flying. I'm hiding that card from our opponent. And unfortunately, Vorinclex has reach, so that's annoying, because we were going to take them down to, what, 1 life? So we can give our team flying here. And would like to attack, but our opponent will take out probably the 5/2. So they would go down to 6, but that's not quite lethal. So I'm not going to attack. I'm going to be a little bit patient. There was an argument to attack there, though. I guess they would have probably blocked one of our Scabs. And Atraxa's full. Okay. So take out a flying creature. And there is a land on top. So I'm actually going to put that in the graveyard, as it's a tap land. Hey. And there's an untapped land for Gix's Command. And I think we'll go for as much damage as possible. I could return those 2 Champion of the Perished back to my hand. But we'll take the opponent down to 3. And see how they can get out of this one. They get out by playing another Vorinclex. Okay, so the reach is a bit annoying here. But as it stands on the board, we have lethal. And Tail Swipe takes out our Archghoul of Thraben. So we get to look at the top, and it's a Bladestitched Skaab. A decent card, but is it good enough? Because we need to find a way to get around this Vorinclex. I think for the moment it is, and unfortunately we just draw a Swamp to go with it. So I think going wide is our best option here. Could attack our opponent. They would take a What, 1 damage there? Not good enough. And leaving the Geralf back, we can always sacrifice our Skaab to create a token if we need to. There's an Elder, and then the Contaminator, and they gain 4 life, so back up to 7. So we do run the risk of this game getting away from us. There's another Archghoul. No attacks. So what are we looking for? We're looking for a removal spell for the Vorinclex at the moment. Okay, and Rotten Reunion. Okay, so just playing a one-of copy in this deck at the moment. Deal with things like Atraxas and stuff. Also, it creates a couple of zombies. I do like playing cards that can deal with graveyards, but there aren't any zombies that do that, so that's why the Rotten Reunion's in here. Still no attacks though, but we are actually threatening lethal next turn if Vorinclex is the only creature on the battlefield with reach. So maybe the Rotten Reunion is going to help because it's going to create a couple of 4/2s. And they don't, although they don't play any creatures, so they don't gain any more life. So we should have lethal here. I'm sure they've got an instant speed way of dealing with our board. Losing Geralf would be the problem here. But yeah, we get a couple of 2/2s that are getting pumped by the Skaabs here. So yeah, this is be a lethal attack this turn. Okay, they definitely have something. Okay, it's a tail swipe on our Geralf. That sacrifice another non-token zombie. Okay. So we'll let that go. Okay, there's Takenuma. I mean, we don't have enough to play it and play the Geralf on the same turn. So we just got to hope that we can survive maybe till next turn and hope the opponent doesn't put down any reach creatures or gain any more life. But even if they do gain life, I think we can get away with that for 1 turn. And they just transform their Vorinclex. I think this should be enough for lethal here. So we're just playing the 1 copy of Geralf in the deck. I can certainly see us playing a 2nd copy. Or even a 2nd copy of Takenuma. But these creatures are not cast, so they're not going to gain the 4 life from the Silverback Elder. They do have backup though, the Doomscar Warrior. So it means when the Elder does damage to the opponent, they get to look at X cards from the top of their library and put a creature into their hand from that. But I think we should be okay, even if they gain 4 life. So they say they find a 2 mana creature, they play that, they gain 4 life, they go up to 15. We've got 11. We've got more than enough damage on board. We've got about 19 damage on board when we cast the Geralf. In fact, I want them to find a 2 mana creature here. It's a Lone Speaker. Please play that. Yes. All right. So they're probably going to gain 4 life here, as they always tend to. And that's fine. We should have lethal here if we just find our Geralf and just drop that next turn. So unfortunately for our opponent, them transforming the Vorinclex has taken the reach creature off the battlefield. And this will allow us to attack over the top for lethal. Excellent. All right, on the draw here. Pretty nice hand. Yeah, keep this. 3 mana is what we need. And worst comes to worst, we have our Gix's command to clear the board. Opponent with Xander's Lounge. So maybe a Grixis mid-range deck. So mid-range should be quite good against us. So we just want to keep making sure that we play creatures when we can and keep our hand as full as possible. Opponent with a Bankbuster there. We dropped our Skaab. And they may remove this, they may not want to. At the end of the day, it's just a 2/3. But they do opt for a Braid, take care of our creature. And this time we'll play our Headless Rider. So if this dies, at least it leaves behind a 2/2. And that 2/2 could come in useful with the Fell Stinger that we have that we can exploit. if we want to. I mean, we could even exploit the actual Headless Rider to find a 2/2, but the Grixis deck has a Corpse Appraiser here for some excellent value. And a tricky card for us to get through, actually, as it's a 3/3. But they are going to get aggro with us and attack us with the Bankbuster. So we could block here, lose our Rider, gain a 2/2. Not really worth it, as we draw a Skaab. Okay, so unfortunately we can't quite double spell this turn. So I think the mana efficient play here is to play our highest mana cost creature, in this case Archghoul of Thraben, and attack our opponent down to 17. Fingers crossed we draw a Champion of the Perish soon. But next turn we get to double spell with our Skaab and our Felstinger. I'm a little bit nervous about playing too many creatures into our opponent's board due to Brotherhood's End, just any board wipe. But it would leave behind some 2/2s and would get some triggers from the Archghoul of Thraben as well. And there's Invoke Despair. I think we'll ditch our Headless Rider here. One of my favourite cards in the deck, but we get a little bit of value here with the 2/2, and we get to look at the top of our deck, and it's Rotten Reunion. Well, we'll pop that in the graveyard, as it's just as good in the graveyard. Okay, so we can either double spell or play Felstinger, hold open, go for the throat. We can hold open Rotten Reunion in case of any shenanigans from our opponent's end. I think definitely want to play the Skaab. Definitely want to create some larger bodies. And go for the throat, not great against the Bankbuster here. So what I think I'm going to do is just deal with the Appraiser now. They'll probably crew. And then we're going to attack with the Archghoul of Thraben, and then that will allow our opponent to decide if they want to block. And if they block, I'm fine with that. It takes their card draw engine off the board. Okay, they do block. And there is an Invasion of Amonkhet on the top. Okay. I think I want that one. I want to see if we can get this card to work. Not many zombies in this new set, but the battle is kind of a pseudo zombie, so definitely something I want to try out here. Run it with a Harvester, and they immediately sack in their blood, so definitely digging for something. And there's our invasion. It's all well and good playing the invasion, but I need to find a way to actually destroy it as well. I think we will drop it though. So we could send both our creatures at the invasion here. I'm sure they would block the Skaab. Invasion would take 3 damage. Our token would become a 2/2. And they did sacrifice their blood last turn, so they can't even activate Harvester this coming turn unless they have another one. And there's a Felstinger. Just going to send the 3/2. If they block, they block. Which they do, okay. It's fine by me. Now, do we overextend with the Felstinger? Probably not. Gix's command can put 2 +1/+1 counters on our creature here, so we can definitely deal with the Invasion of Amonkhet. Opponent with Invoke Despair. Okay, well, I don't want to lose my Skaab here, so I think we'll play our Rotten Reunion and sacrifice this creature instead. I don't think it matters too much what we take from the graveyard. They must have seen this coming because the Rotten Reunion, they knew it was in my graveyard. Okay, they are thinking about something. Wonder if they have removal for the Skaab. Oh, they have Make Disappear. Okay. Fair enough. It's not the end of the world there. But definitely want to try and kill this if we can. It's the only problem I find with sort of these battle cards in decks where you're not able to get the attacks through. We are down to 8 though. So we've got to be a little bit careful. Felstinger. Not going to exploit. I would like the cards, but I don't want to go down to 6. We're just over then a removal and an invoke away from dying. Opponent has loads of mana though. And it's Corpse Appraiser. Number 3, I think it is. Or number 2 or number 3. So much value from this card. But yeah, we should be able to just Gix's Command next turn. Okay, there's Shelly. So kind of tapped out their end, so I'm fine with this. We should be able to clear their board. We'll drop our Gix's Command though. Definitely put some counters on one of our creatures. Probably the Fell Stinger here. It has Death Touch. And yeah, we'll go for the Invasion of Amonkhet. Shame we don't have a Necroduality on the board here. So if we have one of those, the Invasion would transform into Lazotep Convert, and that would come down and create a copy of whatever creature we want to. Probably would have taken the Appraiser. But in this case, we'll just go for Sheoldred. So Sheoldred, a 4/4, is a zombie. Another Appraiser for our opponent. Okay. So got to see the Invasion work slightly. But yeah, would love to have had the Necroduality on the battlefield to make a couple of copies of Appraisers. That would have been just amazing. It's not a token, the backside. Opponent with a cut down. That leaves behind a 2/2. But they're down to their last card, and it's a good card. It's a Harvester. But I think we should be able to close out the game if we can get super aggressive here. We'll play our Fellstinger. We'll exploit our 2/2. And yeah, draw a couple of cards. You can always force the opponent to draw cards if you want to. Just take the last 2 damage away from them. We got an Edict. So I think our best option here is to just get super aggressive. We're all the way back up to 15 life. I think we were down to 6 at one point. Yeah, I think we'll just attack, see what the opponent wants to do. We have the Edict if we need anything over the next few turns. But we don't look like we're about to die anytime soon. And this is 9 damage. And they're going to lose a couple of their creatures if they want to start blocking. I mean, the Death Touch on these creatures is what's making this really difficult for them. I mean, yeah, they definitely want to, it seems, take out our Shelly. We could have played the Edict there. I think they would have just sacked the Harvester. But yeah, we still got 2 big boys on the battlefield. And they do have a go for the throat. Okay. Pretty decent draw by them. But they're cardless. Okay, and just draw a land. Really hope we don't start flooding now. Okay, it's a Blood Tithe Harvester for our opponent. Pretty nice card. There's Gix's Command. Alright, well, I think what we'll do is we'll play the Command here. And we'll get value from our graveyard instead of lifelink. We don't need that anymore. So we'll destroy our opponent's creature and then we'll throw a couple of cards back into our hand. We'll take a Rider, we'll take a Stinger. And yeah, this is a lot of value here. Opponent down to 9. We'll drop our Headless Rider. Say go. And it's an Invoke Despair, okay. Alright, well, we'll get rid of our Headless Rider. It leaves behind a 2/2. So really good draw there from our opponent. They've got him a couple more cards in their hand. That's the main thing, I think. Always seem to have Invoke Despair. Oh, but they're sacking their blood. Okay. There goes a Make Disappear. Probably not so great this late in the game. But yeah, we'll just attack with our 2 creatures. Okay, opponent takes damage. Sure, down to 4. I'm going to play the Fell Stinger here. and we will see if we can not draw anything. Unfortunately, if the opponent was down to 2 life, we could have forced them, like I said, to lose 2 life. But Tainted Adversary is going to be fantastic. I could play it now, but I don't want to go too crazy, just in case. We've got them down to 4 life. Shame our creatures only have 3 power. There's Shelly. Okay. Well, we can Edict that, or Otawara, and invoke Despair. Well, the main thing here is to get rid of Shelly so they don't gain a load of life. But yeah, another invoke Despair for our opponent. So I wish we'd played the Tainted Adversary last turn. And they have a cut down as well. Okay, so... Alright, well, we could bounce this back to our hand. I think we'll just let this go. We'll leave the Otawara to clear any blockers. But opponent is drawing gas every turn, and I think we're just going to drop the Tainted Adversary here. Make sure we have enough mana for Otawara, maybe, or not. Doesn't matter too much, I don't think. Okay, have we finally found a way to get through this opponent? Brotherhood's End would be terrible right now. It's Takenuma. What are they going to look for? Sheoldred, fair enough. Okay, they play Sheoldred. They have 2 mana left. Surely we can attack next turn for lethal. Okay, they discard their card, probably looking for a cut down. It was another Make Disappear. I guess they go up to 6 life. But yeah, we'll just put this Shelly back in their hand and attack our opponent. And thank goodness we got there at the end. What a game against a Grixis deck. Alright, on the draw here, hand is relatively okay. It's a little bit on the expensive side, I guess, actually. We'll keep due to the fact we've got Necroduality, but opponent with a Xander's Lounge. Not quite the Mardu that their name represents. But we do find a Go for the Throat, so hopefully they play a creature which we can take out. They don't. Okay, so we've got 2 options here, really. The Archghoul of Thraben or the Headless Rider. The Rider will leave behind a 2/2 when it dies, but this Archghoul will allow us to look at the top of our deck instead. So these cards have just been absolutely fantastic today. Cut down, I mean, it kills our creature, but we just get value from it. Look, we see there's a land on top. Do we want that? Don't we want that? I don't actually want it right now. Let's pop that in our graveyard. We'll get a land anyway. And yeah, we'll play this Necroduality. Opponent doesn't counter it, though. And they pass their turn. Okay. So now every creature that enters the battlefield is going to basically get a copy. And their one-on-one removal is just not going to be good enough. But this is the little combo I like. Overcharged Amalgam with Necroduality on the battlefield. We get to exploit the token, counter the opponent's spell, and keep a 3/3 on the battlefield. So lovely turn there, and yeah, they scoop it up. Not surprised. All right, on the play. Pretty nice hand with the Necroduality, Rotten Reunion. But yeah, we'll see what we can do with this. Opponent with a Voldaran Epicure. So mono red, potentially black red. There's our Archghoul of Thraben. I think we're just going to... Well, we either play the Adversary now and hope that they can't kill it, or we hold open the Go for the Throat. Dropping the Adversary, quite difficult for them to kill. They're going to need a... Oh, they are red-black. Okay. Another Epicure for our opponent. They don't really have any good attacks here. I guess they could cut down our Adversary. But they don't. They use their blood to loot away. There's our champion. Okay. So really want to find a 4th mana to get this Necroduality down. I think that could take over the game. They probably haven't got too many ways to deal with that. Just going to play the Archghoul now as the most mana efficient play. I guess we could have played the champion, held open, go for the throat, but I really want to get the champion down whilst we have Necroduality on the battlefield. Opponent with a Fable. Okay, and there's our island, so we'll absolutely slam this enchantment on the battlefield. And just sit on defense now and try and go as wide as possible. I'm guessing they've got a board wipe, Brotherhood's End, or Burn Down the House. Most decks playing red seem to play those cards at the moment, especially in the best of one meta. But that would allow us to look at 2 cards on the top of our library with the Archghoul of Thraben. They are getting in there with their 2/2. That's got to suggest they've got a board wipe here. So we'll just block. No board wipe, okay. Okay, so maybe they want us to sort of play out our hand a little bit more. I wish we had a Headless Rider, but we don't. Anyhow, I am going to play some cards here, and we're going to play the Champion of Perished. And I guess we attack. Just attack with a 2/3. Opponent goes down to 18. I really want to play this Fellstinger, but I'm just convinced they're going to blow up the board here. That would have put the Champion of Perished up to a 4/4, so it would have survived any Brotherhood's End. Okay, there is Brotherhood's End. Sure. So unfortunately, we just got the 1 black mana. Otherwise, we could have made a couple of 2/2s. But yeah, Archghoul of Thraben triggers here. So I do make a couple of little mistakes here. It's the first time I've played with the Archghoul, and I thought reveal and decline were the other way around. So we are going to leave the land on top. I probably wanted to put that in my graveyard. This was the first game I played with the deck. But we'll go for the Throat the Harvester here. Opponent is down to 2 cards, and we've got the Necroduality on the battlefield, which is the main card for us here. So there's the land that I knew we were getting. And we have a little combo with the Amalgam here. If the opponent wants to play a spell, we can play the Amalgam and then exploit its copy to counter their spell. Or we can just play it as a 3/3, get a couple of 3/3s on the battlefield. But opponent is digging hard with their blood tokens here. And there's an Anvil. Well, I definitely don't want that on the battlefield. Not that it's the best card, it's just a really pesky card, really annoying little card that we may as well just counter that if we can. Not exploiting anything here is an option, as we would have 2 3/3s that are flying, but I think it's best to deal with this Anvil. We have no other ways of dealing with it. Decline the second trigger, and it's a Flesh Gorger for our opponent. Okay, so there's a bit of life gain from them. We're both on 18 here. Second copy of Fellstinger is interesting. Made a 2/2 there so that we can use Fellstinger to exploit it. Headless Rider is a nice card. But yeah, we'll get in there for 3 damage. And pass our turn. So yeah, this Necroduality is threatening to take over the board a little bit here. Opponent with a Epicure pings us to 15, but they all only 1 card left in their hand. And it's eaten alive our Amalgam. Okay, I'm fine with that. I mean, I guess that they are thinking that it's just going to fly over the top constantly, but Okay, well, we'll double block this. We've got the opponent down to no cards, no creatures. We still left with a 3-2 on the battlefield. So we should be quite good here. It's just showing how good the Necroduality here is. It's basically just doubling up our creatures, allowing us to grow our board from board wipes and removal spells. Hit the opponent down to 13. We definitely want to play one of our creatures here. Or at least one of our creatures. So we'll drop this Headless Rider. Going to create a copy. Play Felstinger. 2 triggers here. So we'll exploit the token first. Draw a couple of cards. Lose 2 life. And then with the second Felstinger, we'll take out itself. That will create 2 2/2s with the Headless Rider. Grab some more cards, and yeah, we have a lethal attack on board. We got 13 damage here. Opponent with a Vat of Rebirth, and that should be lethal. And yes, it is.